Reggae didn't wake you up, it reminded you who you were. Here is the part most people miss. Reggae was never designed to teach you anything new. It was designed to remind you. That alone tells you something dangerous. You don't remind someone of what they never had. You remind them of what was stolen, buried, or deliberately suppressed. Ancient African consciousness was not built on belief systems. It was built on knowing cycles, knowing nature, knowing self. Knowledge was experiential, not theoretical. You didn't memorize God, you lived God. Then colonial systems arrived with a different formula: remove memory, replace it with doctrine; remove rhythm, replace it with routine; remove inner authority, replace it with external permission. Reggae cut straight through that illusion. That's why it sounds the way it sounds. The offbeat is not accidental. The repetition is not laziness. The bass line is not just music. The bass line speaks to the body before the mind interferes. Ancient Africans understood something modern education avoids. The body remembers before the brain understands. That's why drums were banned. That's why rhythm was feared. Because rhythm bypasses logic and reactivates memory. When Peter Tosh said, "You can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time," he wasn't talking politics. He was describing consciousness cycles. Truth eventually vibrates back into awareness. Reggae carries ancestral codes because it is structured like memory itself, circular, repetitive, grounding. Every chorus is a knock on the same door. Do you remember now? This is why reggae doesn't rush. Awakening doesn't rush. And here's the secret they never explain. Once a people remember who they are, they stop asking to be included. They start standing where they already belong. That is why reggae speaks of Zion not as a location, but as a state of alignment. Zion is not escape. Zion is remembrance. This is also why reggae artists were never comfortable inside systems of validation. Awards, charts, approval, those things mean nothing to a consciousness that already knows its worth. Reggae didn't give black people power. It reactivated power that was already there. And once memory wakes up, sleep is no longer possible. The next story goes even deeper into why colonial systems attacked drums, dreadlocks, and African time itself. That one will disturb comfortable minds.